Live from WRAL News headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
And finally, the sun is back. Will it stick around all the way through Halloween? I'll let you know.
We have breaking news out of Jamaica as officials are working to determine just how much damage Melissa caused and what happens next.
Killed on the job. A utility worker killed and another injured in a hit and run on the side of the Johnston County Road. What we know about the crash so far. Well, we certainly needed the rain, but this is also a welcome sight. Sunshine has returned. The question now, what does that mean for your Halloween plans? Thanks for joining us. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Chris Lovingood. So to answer that question, we have meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner, who's been tracking that for you, and the WRAL Severe Weather Center with a look at the twist in temperatures that's on the way.
Yes, of course, we started with cloudy skies on Monday. So, we were on day 4 this morning, but the clouds have cleared nicely. This is a look at RDU, and this is a look at our high resolution satellite, and you can see a few clouds out there. There is a patch of clouds. It's making it feel a little more overcast in our far western counties, but that's going to slide through pretty quickly. And we are looking at clear skies for tomorrow. Our next weather maker is just the flow around this low that's going to be nice and dry and crisp and cool. I think for Halloween, sometimes it might be kind of neat to have fog, but not really. I mean, for trick-or-treating, you really just want it clear, dry, and cool, and it doesn't look any better than what we're going to get. Our normal low, which doesn't usually happen until early in the morning, is 44. The record 30 back in 1963. Our normal high is 68 about the middle of the afternoon, and the record 85 set back just about 6 years ago. How about tomorrow? It's really going to look great. It's going to be nice and cool in the morning, upper 40s to low 50s, around lunchtime, upper 50s, and around trick-or-treat time between 5 and 8 o'clock, our temperatures will go from low 60s down into the low 50s. So, the kids can wear more of a bulky costume if they want to. If they have a costume that's a little thinner, they should also be just fine. And we will see clear skies and plenty of sunshine. Maybe you have big plans for the weekend to be outside. Matter of fact, we've got some big football games coming. We'll take a look at the forecast for the rest of the weekend coming up.
All right, sounds good, Elizabeth. We'll see you in just a bit. You can download the new WRAL weather app and plan ahead for weather conditions anytime. Use the hour-by-hour forecast and the local radar to find that sweet spot for trick-or-treating. It's free wherever you download your apps.
A utility worker was killed in a hit and run in Johnston County last night. James Rudsky had been working on power lines north of Selma along Live Oak Church Road. And that's where WRAL's Carly Haynes is live right now. Carly, investigators are still trying to figure out what happened there.
And we got some new information from state troopers just within the last 30 minutes or so. This is what's left of the scene from last night. There's a lot of utility work that's happening in this area, including a lot of lines that are strung across roads, and that's going to come into play when we give you some of that information that troopers have given us. We also know this was a Pike Electric crew that was doing contract work for Duke Energy. I want to show you some video now from our breaking news tracker of the scene last night. According to troopers, a flatbed truck carrying a water tank, which was similar to a septic tank, hit a low-hanging line that was across the road. Troopers said the truck went around a traffic control stop signal and got tangled in the line. One of the line workers, James Rudsky, fell to the ground and died. We know another line worker went to the hospital with minor injuries. Pike Electric is a big utility company that does a lot of contract work for Duke Energy. We know of another situation that happened about 2 months ago where a Pike Electric worker was injured after being electrocuted on the job. Carly Haynes, WRAL News, live in Johnson County.
Officers are looking for the drivers who crashed into a utility pole in Durham. That crash knocked out power to hundreds of people. And the breaking news tracker was there on North Roxborough Street near Monk Road after this happened. Police say the drivers abandoned the wrecked cars and the vehicles appear to have been stolen. A closer look at this story is coming up in our next half hour.
I'm Luis Fernandez in the WRAL Live Center. We're going to give you some updates on Hurricane Melissa. We're hearing from Jamaican officials and ministers looking at a bit of the infrastructure right now. As of this moment, 492,000 people on the island are without power. About 50,000 have had power restored. Norman Manley International Airport is open, but it sounds like about 10 flights or so are happening right now, so still a work in progress there. Fortunately, Kingston Harbor is open, and a lot of other harbors and ports across across the country are expected to open over the course of the next 24 to 48 hours. Now, getting to some of the more delicate information with this, the Jamaican Defense Force has declared a humanitarian and disaster task force. They're going through by foot, by helicopter, trying to find people, help people as much as they can. One thing, there is a dedicated helicopter to locating bodies. No immediate idea as to deaths on the island currently. But for more on this, let's go to NBC reporter George Solis, who has more on the impact of Hurricane Melissa, both in Jamaica and in the Caribbean.
The devastating aftermath of Hurricane Melissa is coming into sharper focus this morning across the Caribbean. From roofs completely ripped off homes to entire towns flooded, aerial tours revealing the level of devastation.
We have no lights, we have no water, and we have limited amount of food items. It's like we're cut off from the rest of the world right now.
These before and after satellite images showing the swath of destruction across parts of the country. Our team set out from Kingston to try and reach the town where the hurricane made landfall.
Part of the roadway here covered in mud, bringing traffic to a standstill in some parts. Residents taking it upon themselves to help with the cleanup.
Water inside. We up here, so you have to swim. Yeah.
You had to swim?
Yeah.
Americans David and Carissa told us their belated honeymoon in Montego Bay took a terrifying turn as the hurricane closed in.
It sounded like the roof was going to get ripped off. Like, it was terrifying. I think our number one priority is, just how do we get home? Right now, it's just all up in the air.
They're among the many tourists stranded in Jamaica. Montego Bay's airport sustaining damage. Water seen pouring through the roof of the terminal. The storm also pounding other parts of the Caribbean. In Haiti, the government reporting more than 20 deaths. And in Cuba, where the hurricane made its second landfall, residents now digging out after flash flooding leveled homes.
A Wayne County school bus with 9 students on board this morning never made it to Rosewood Middle School. It crashed after 7 this morning at Massey Holt and Brogdon Roads when troopers say a livestock trailer detached from a truck. No one was injured. The students were able to go to class today. In Lee County, cleanup has wrapped up after a tractor trailer overturned on US 421, spilling a large load of sheet metal. This happened last night. Police believe the weather caused it. The driver of the truck was taken to the hospital but has since been released. No other cars were involved in the crash.
A manhunt is happening right now on the North Carolina coast. Deputies in Craven County are looking for a murder suspect accused of killing his grandmother and stabbing a sheriff's deputy. Authorities are trying to find 24-year-old Dominic Connolly. The Craven County Sheriff's Office says Connolly stabbed a deputy last night when they confronted him in Vanceboro. He's wanted for the death of his grandmother, and she was found dead inside her home on Saturday.
In the WRAL Live Center, we have some celebrations happening in Raleigh right now as Kevin Howell has been officially introduced as the NC State Chancellor. You're seeing the moment from just about a half an hour ago when he was sworn in, celebrated. Now, he was elected back in March by the UNC Board of Governors. He's been working for quite some time now. This is more of just kind of the official things, the putting all of the important things on, all of that stuff. He's the 15th Chancellor in NC State's history. He's the first African-American Chancellor in NC State's history. During the speeches, there was a lot of talk of what is next, leading NC State into a prosperous future. We'll have more information on that coming up for you throughout our newscasts on WRAL.
And he's been on the job as chancellor since May, but that's just all the official pomp and circumstance to become chancellor there. Lewis, thank you. New school buses on the road in Durham this morning. The district showed off its 2 new electric school buses this morning. They were bought with a $15 million Clean School Bus Program grant. Transportation officials say they're a chance to save money in the long term.
We will spend less money on fuel costs and less money on some of the repair costs for different parts of the bus because, of course, it being electric, there are less parts than a traditional bus.
So some savings down the road. Durham Public Schools runs 150 school buses every day.
Next at noon, back in business. The new agreement between the U.S. and China has a direct effect on North Carolina's economy. We'll explain how.
Also, untying the knot, the story behind calls for a federal investigation into the popular wedding planning website.
And her day in court. The head of a company accused of not paying its employees faced a judge. What happened during WRAL Investigates' first face-to-face encounter with her?
Coming up next, see storms moving in with WRAL's exclusive Dual Doppler 5000, sponsored by the WRAL Weather app. Download now for live radar.
U.S. leaders say China agreed to purchase 25 million metric tons of American soybeans annually. And this is the result of an agreement made between President Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping. They met in South Korea to talk about the future of trade. President Trump's tariffs on China hit soybean farmers pretty hard in America. Federal data shows soybeans were the largest agricultural export from the U.S. last year. Now, this means China will start buying soybeans from North Carolina farmers again. The crop is a $643 million business for our state. Farmers here planted more than 1.5 million acres last year, and nearly every county has a soybean farmer. Sampson, Johnston, and Wayne counties are among the top producers, too.
NVIDIA is now the world's first $5 trillion company. This comes as the demand for the company's artificial intelligence chips increase. Earlier this week, NVIDIA's stock rose after its CEO talked about a future where the company's chips would be in everything. This includes cell phone towers to robotic factories to self-driving cars. Let's take a look at how stocks are doing right now, and it's a tale of two different directions. So for the Dow, it is up 230 points, a huge rally there, but NASDAQ, the tech stocks, big drop, down 191 points as the Federal Reserve finishes its meeting.
5 new suspects were arrested in that heist that happened at the Louvre.
2 suspects were previously arrested in connection with the theft. French prosecutors say those suspects admitted their involvement in the heist. The crown jewels have not yet been found. The big mystery there.
All right, so we are still looking at Melissa's track right now. Yes, already hit Jamaica and Cuba, and trying to look at the track as it continues out into the ocean there, Elizabeth. Talk a little bit about when it's actually going to just kind of be over with.
So by tomorrow, really, it's pretty much over with. Of course, it moved past the Bahamas overnight last night. It's really moving fast now. One of the problems down around Jamaica was that it was moving very slowly. Of course, on top of the fact that it had 185 mile per hour winds when it made landfall. So it's weakened considerably, and it's about 300 miles or so north now of the Bahamas, moving northeast at 24 miles an hour. That's fast. It's still Category 2 at 105 mile per hour winds, and we'll watch it heading northward. Right there is the island of Bermuda, so it's going to slide past Bermuda as a Category 2 storm overnight tonight. Really only looking at around an inch or so of rain in Bermuda as compared to what we were expecting across parts of Jamaica and Cuba, which was going to be, 20, 30 inches of rain. They will likely have hurricane force winds there in Bermuda, but not likely to have a lot of damage there, especially compared to some of the storms that they've seen already. We could see high rip current danger, but this doesn't look like it's going to be close enough to us to see a lot of damage along the Outer Banks. There could be some minor issues there, though, as we get through tonight into the day tomorrow. So we're looking at, of course, our next system rolling in behind our low. That low is going to continue to move on up into the Great Lakes, but around it, we'll have some nice dry air that slides in. The cold front's already passed us by, and so we're transitioning to just a nice quiet pattern. There's, of course, no rain on the radar right now, and we take a look at Futurecast through the afternoon, and we continue to see our skies clearing. We do have dry conditions tonight, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but late Sunday night into early Monday, we may end up with a few isolated showers. Right now, it's looking probably pretty minimal on that front, but we'll take a closer look at it coming up in just a little bit. That would be our next weather maker. It's breezy out there right now. This is a live look at Goldsboro. We have some gusty winds out there currently. Winds are steady out of the southwest at 17, but we're gusting 25 in places. Right now, it's about 60 degrees, sitting at 59. And again, we're going to see winds gusting 20 to maybe even up to 25 miles per hour through the afternoon. Nice afternoon for us. Temperatures in the mid-60s for Raleigh, Durham, and in Fayetteville. But we do have some chilly mornings ahead. That's going to be almost our next weather issue. 45 is our normal low. We're close to that tomorrow morning, but that will be a lot colder than this morning when our temperatures were in the upper 50s. So about 15 degrees colder for tomorrow morning, and then we'll drop it down even farther for Saturday and Sunday, upper 30s to around 40. So there's likely to be some patchy frost, especially northern counties or rural and low-lying areas. Great looking day for Friday. We talked about that at the beginning of the newscast. Highs will be in the 60s. Great weather for the trick-or-treaters. Saturday and Sunday temperatures will be in the mid-60s, and we should see plenty of sunshine. That makes for a great game day. It is going to be a game evening, I should say, 7:30. Georgia Tech takes the field at NC State. Temperatures will be in the low to mid 50s, so definitely on the cool side. It'll be dark out, so you won't have that sun to keep you warm. And then trick-or-treating temperatures at 5 o'clock, 57, and then by 8 o'clock down to 51. So that'll be comfortably cool. And of course, we'll see plenty of sunshine. Looking again at the weekend, it looks nice and bright. Don't forget, on Saturday night, we set our clocks back 1 hour. We go back to standard time. It's a good time to check your smoke detectors and your carbon monoxide alerts as well. On Monday, we do have that small chance for rain. We'll take a closer look at how much we could see and how we're looking with our drought monitor after all this rain coming up.
All right, thanks, Elizabeth.
Let's get to Luis Fernandez in the WRAL Live Center with some new information about Affordable Care Act plans. Luis.
Yeah, Renee, as we've reported on over the past couple of days, we're day 30 of the government shutdown, and we just found out recently that the ACA healthcare premiums are expected to go up by nearly 30% coming up in this next year. Remember, 1 million people in North Carolina purchase ACA plans. We're hearing from state Democrats ahead of all of this happening. They are criticizing both Republicans in D.C. as well as a potential Republican candidate here in North Carolina for the state Senate. State Senator Gail Addick said Republicans in D.C. are refusing to extend a tax credit that allows nearly 1 million Americans to afford health care. Now, for more context on that, there's an enhanced premium tax credit on ACA, Obamacare that was put in place in 2021. Those are set to expire this year. A lot of that has a lot to do with the government shutdown we are currently under, once again, in day 30 of that. So we're working to find more information on this as well, as we heard from them. Kirsten Clark was at that press conference, and she'll have more coming up throughout the afternoon on that.
We know healthcare subsidies have been a sticking point between Republicans and Democrats in trying to come to an end to this federal government shutdown. Combating crime, the city of Durham trying to find solutions to address ongoing violence. Today, starting on WRAL News at 4, what leaders have discussed and when we could see action being taken.
Plus, fixing aging dams. It was already a concern, and then Hurricane Helene exposed increased danger. On WRAL News at 5, how the state is working to strengthen, repair, and remove them for the future. Military discounts. The government shutdown created money worries for federal employees, including service members. Bob on your side will share which companies offer special discounts for military members, veterans, and first responders.
And a company president in court. The woman accused of running a company, accused of not paying its employees, faced a judge. Next, what happened? WRAL investigates first face-to-face encounter with her.
The government shutdown has many military and federal workers uncertain about their paychecks, and this is making money a bit tight for family budgets.
Many companies offer discounts. 5 on your side's Ashley Rowe explains how to find them and what you'll need to qualify.
An uncertain cash flow is the reality millions of Americans are feeling right now. But there is some relief. Many businesses are offering discounts to help stretch every dollar.
Many retailers, big and small, and even some restaurants offer discounts for all kinds of positions. And that includes first responders, teachers, nurses, active military, and even veterans. And they may not advertise these discounts very well, so it always pays to ask.
Home improvement stores like the Home Depot and Lowe's offer 10% off many purchases. Clothing brands such as Under Armour, LL Bean, and Columbia give military and first responders similar breaks. Cell phone carriers, including Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile, offer monthly plan discounts, and you may find savings at restaurants, too. Chains like Applebee's and Chili's offer free meals on Veterans Day. And some, like Outback Steakhouse, have discounts year-round for those who serve, from military members to medical staff. To prove your status, you'll usually need a military ID or a government-issued ID for first responders. And an important reminder, if you're active duty and at risk of default on your loans, the Service Members Civil Relief Act might help ease some of your financial burdens. It puts some protections in place that make it difficult for things like foreclosure, eviction, or car repossession to happen during this time. In some cases, you may also be able to end a home or car lease, depending on your situation. Ashley Rowe, 5 on your side.
Wake County launched a new resource to help people affected by the SNAP benefits hiatus. A new website shows food pantries and other free meal locations in Wake County. The county reports more than 80,000 people rely on SNAP benefits. North Carolina's Attorney General Jeff Jackson sued the USDA on Tuesday. He says it has emergency funding available to keep SNAP running, but it's choosing not to make it available. Grocery delivery service GoPuff says it's offering people who use SNAP benefits $50 off groceries. The deal will be split into two $25 off promos throughout November. To use the deal, SNAP recipients must add a SNAP EBT card to their GoPuff account.
Here in the WRAL Live Center, and we have some new information about some counterfeit Labubus. For those that know the Labubus, as well as a lot of other counterfeit goods. These were seized, near the value of $860,000 seized from a variety of homecoming activities, flea markets, and state fairs here in North Carolina. This information coming from the NC Anti-Counterfeiting Task Force members. A bunch of tips that came through. A lot of things, not just Labubus, also MLB, NFL, NBA merchandise. There's a lot of good information on that about what the task force has been up to over this past little bit thing. Over the past 21 years, the task force has taken more than $200 million in counterfeits off the streets. A little bit of advice for people that do not know. So if you know, you know. Always remember, real Labubus have 9 teeth. That is always a good place to start to make sure you're dealing with authentic Labubus. The more you know here in the Live Center for y'all.
It's kind of like when you buy maybe fake Air Jordans and obviously he doesn't look that way on the little icon. It's maybe a different position. I don't know. All right. Look out for fake Labubus. The wedding planning platform, The Knot, is being scrutinized because of reported fraud and deceptive business practices. Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley is asking the FTC to investigate it. He says his office received nearly 200 complaints from wedding vendors claiming the company failed to honor advertising contracts. The Knot is also accused of sending fake leads and falsely promising discounts. The Knot denies these allegations, though. YouTube is restructuring and offering voluntary buyouts to employees, specifically the ones based in the United States who want to leave the company. The company is doing this as part of its plan to move toward a focus on AI. YouTube's product team will divide into 3 different divisions: subscription products, viewer products, and creator and community products.
Government shutdown impacts. It's affecting millions in our state. Next, how it's causing even more trouble for Hurricane Helene survivors.
Plus, tracking overdose resources. A map shows where life-saving medication can be found. We're going to show you the new tool from UNC's School of Pharmacy. And don't worry, we did not forget, we do have your winning NC Education lottery numbers right here on your screen. Good luck.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number 1 source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
The president of a Durham company accused of not paying its employees appeared in court today, and that's after missing her prior 2 court dates.
Now, we've reported for months on CJF America and the lawsuits and even criminal charges against its executives. WRAL investigates Sarah Kruger was in court, finally coming face to face with Kristen Picot. Sarah, what happened?
Renee, it's what we've been trying to do for months, meet face to face with her. And today I finally had that opportunity here in the Durham courthouse. And I followed her down all of those flights of stairs. It was interesting. This is how it unfolded. Kristen Picot was supposed to be in court today to resolve her case, charged with issuing worthless checks to employees.
Your Honor, I just got fired this morning.
Instead, she got a new attorney, so the case was once again continued. On her way out of the courthouse.
So when will employees be paid? No comment.
We followed her down 4 flights of stairs, trying to get answers to important questions about the thousands of dollars she's accused of owing dozens of people who worked for the CJF America summer camp. She kept silent.
Were you served with the lawsuits today that are outstanding for you?
Her new attorney not saying much either.
And ma'am, as her attorney, do you believe that your client is innocent or guilty? She is always innocent until proven guilty. No other comments. Thank you so much.
How much do you know the facts of the cases? We've been reporting on this for months. I don't know if you've seen our reporting. Brianna Thompson, one of the employees whose case was supposed to be heard today, is frustrated by the continued lack of accountability for PICO. Do you have hope you're going to see the money that you're owed?
Yes, ma'am, I do. I mean, it's only right because we worked so hard and we did a lot of things for those kids.
Another interesting layer to this story that just keeps evolving. PICO is due back here in court in about a month. Sarah Kruger, WRAL News, live in Durham.
Luis Fernandez here in the WRAL Live Center. Now, we've been reporting on this being the 30th day of the government shutdown and that impacting SNAP benefits across the country, particularly here in North Carolina. Earlier today, we heard from officials in Buncombe County. Now, remember, Buncombe County is one of the places that was hit hardest by Helene, the home of towns like Asheville. They spoke a bit about what the suspension of SNAP benefits would do for their area. They emphasized that if you have SNAP benefits currently still in your possession, the cash that's been given to you, put in your card, you can still use those just starting on November 3rd and November 21st. Those are the 2 days of the month that they put more money onto people's cards. You will not get that currently until this government shutdown comes to a conclusion. All that is sorted out. They also kind of provided some context as to how many people in North Carolina, in Buncombe County, are participating in SNAP. So just for some numbers here, about 1.42 million in North Carolina get SNAP. That's about 12% of the population. These new benefits that won't be added on November 3rd will specifically impact 1,500 families in Buncombe County. And there's also an overall economic impact to this as well. The officials said that about $13 million a month is added to the local food economy through SNAP. Now, there are still things that they're working on. The Women, Infants and Children WIC, if you participate in that, that will run through about the middle of November before that is suspended. In addition to that, they're working with local organizations like Manna Food Bank to do a food drive to try and provide more food, more resources for people that might need it.
Luis, thank you. Right now, hundreds of people are without power after an early morning crash broke a power pole in Durham. WRAL's Ali Calabar reports police say the drivers abandoned the wrecked cars.
And police say no one has been arrested in relation to this crash involving stolen vehicles that's caused a lot of disruption here on North Roxborough Street. We've seen crews work to repair and replace this utility pole and knocked out power to about 1,000 Duke Energy customers. And this is video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker. You can see both of those cars crashed. One of them snapped a utility pole. The other had significant damage to the front end of it. We know now from Durham police that both of these cars were reported stolen around midnight, and then they found them crashed. We also know from police that the drivers in this crash had abandoned those cars. And we're working to find out what led up to this crash involving two stolen vehicles. We're keeping you updated. Reporting in Durham, Ali Calabar, WRAL News.
A candlelight vigil will be held tomorrow for a couple who deputies say was killed by their 17-year-old foster child. Ted and Joanne Chavis were murdered at a home on Cope Road, and friends and family will gather tomorrow in Red Springs for a candlelight vigil in their honor. Guests are asked to wear red to honor Ted and purple to honor Joanne. Law enforcement found the 17-year-old suspect more than 60 miles away. He was at the Boys and Girls Home of North Carolina in Columbus County. Investigators say he took his own life when they arrived. We're also getting an update on the 18-year-old seriously injured in a deadly crash in Holly Springs. According to his mother, Brandon Russell is currently having surgery at Wake Med. He'll have another one this weekend for a broken wrist. WRAL received photos of the damaged vehicle Russell was in during the crash Sunday. A 14-year-old bicyclist, Max Dunham, he died at that scene. And a 16-year-old was charged with driving while impaired and drinking underage. Holly Springs police said more charges could be coming.
Durham school leaders are reviewing changes to the district's cell phone policy today. The new rules require middle and high school students to power off their phones, not just silence them. In terms of smart glasses, they are also considering maybe banning them or allowing only the prescription use with the tech turned off. All school districts in North Carolina must update their policies under a new state law. And Wake County schools discussed similar changes on Tuesday.
Chatham County has a new way to recycle. The county is running a pilot program to keep food waste out of landfills. Residents can drop off their food waste at one of 4 collection centers. Items collected will be made into compost. And a list of acceptable items is on the Chatham County website. I should also mention a recent study shows food and paper make up 25% of what people threw in the county landfill last year. Happening tonight, you can take kids to Trunk or Treat at the NC Department of Adult Correction. They are hosting the 3rd annual Candy and Cars community event in Raleigh this evening. There will be a DJ there, plus face painting and food trucks available. You can also contribute to the food drive that'll be happening. Donations will support the Food Bank of Central and Eastern North Carolina.
Tough, elastic, and waterproof. Researchers are testing spider silk for medical use. How this sticky substance could help patients skip stitches or staples.
Very interesting. And when time matters, the new tool from UNC's School of Pharmacy that can help you find life-saving medicine when every second counts. UNC Health System will need a new leader there. President and CEO Janet Hadar is stepping down. She's taking a new position as Chief Operating Officer of UAB Health System in Alabama. Hadar started at UNC Hospitals as a nursing manager and then worked her way up to CEO. Her last day with UNC will be December 1st.
A UNC researcher is connecting communities to life-saving medication. Delisha Carpenter is with the UNC Eshelman School of Pharmacy. She's helping people find naloxone in the event of an overdose. Carpenter recently helped launch naloxonenearme.org. The website ranks all 100 counties statewide based on how many naloxone distribution resources they have. This includes pharmacies selling naloxone and organizations providing free doses.
One thing is everybody's life is worth saving. And so it's important to carry naloxone, especially if you're going to be in situations where people are using drugs. You never know what is in the drugs that you're using.
Carpenter says the goal is to help people find the medication faster. The website is also meant to encourage local governments to recognize the need for more resources.
Researchers are trying to shed a positive light on spiders, it turns out. Pound for pound, experts say spider silk is at least 5 times as strong as steel. Spider silk is also flexible, making it optimal for holding the tissue together. I mean, Spider-Man comics taught us that, right? Just kidding. Well, now teams are exploring ways that it can be used to advance health innovations. Scientists are also unraveling how the fibers produced from silkworms can promote faster wound recovery. Researchers say silk proteins can be turned into patches and even pastes. This could reduce the need for a patient to get staples or even stitches in the future. Pretty cool. Convicted felon hired as teacher. WRAL Investigates looked into how that happened. Next at noon, what we learned about background checks for people working with your children.
And what's next for Melissa? New video into our newsroom shows the damage the storm did in Jamaica. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner shows us where it's going next. North Carolina does not have a standard criminal history check for teachers, and schools in the state differ in how they look into applicants' pasts. An investigation by WRAL reporters Destiny Patterson and Emily Walkenhorst also found that North Carolina is one of 9 states that does not require fingerprinting. And that story is tonight at 6. Emily joins us now. Emily, tell me why you and Destiny looked into this and how a school ended up hiring a convicted felon.
Yeah, so Renee, back in August, a man named Gregory Pettiford was arrested. Police said he'd used the information of 2 other people to get a teaching job at Cross Creek Charter School. He was a convicted felon who we later learned had been hired at other schools in our area before that, using somewhat different versions of his name.
So you and Destiny set out to find out how this could have happened. Walk us through that process a bit. What did you do?
We looked up the background check policies at every school in our area and asked the schools for any contracts they have for conducting background checks. We also looked up all 50 states and D.C. to see what their laws were. We found North Carolina was really an outlier in allowing school boards to create their own background check policies.
So an outlier. Police have not released many details on the Pettiford case, which you explained there, but you did find some legal loopholes that could have helped him get hired. What did you learn?
So almost no one fingerprints candidates. That means you wouldn't be able to match them to people who had been fingerprinted for arrests. That's just one loophole we found, and we'll go over more at 6. But we did speak with an attorney who said schools can also prevent issues by doing some routine due diligence, like calling references and conducting in-person interviews. Most companies do this sort of thing, and many schools say they do that. State lawmakers also have a new bill that would address some of these concerns in schools. We spoke with one about that bill and its chances of passing.
And that story is at 6 tonight. Make sure to watch tonight. And then you can also visit the education section of WRAL.com later today to find out about the loopholes and possible solutions that have big impacts on students in our school systems. Emily, thank you so much.
Part of my excitement on this one, but this might be some of the sickest news I've ever got a chance to talk about. The NC Museum of Natural Sciences has announced the discovery of a new dinosaur, a distant relative of the Tyrannosaurus rex. It is called the Nanotyrannus luthaeus. It was a smaller meat eater. There was a bunch of controversy around this because initially when the skull was found, paleontologists thought it was just a very small T-Rex. No, it's actually a totally different Tyrannosaurus. And why is this such a big deal? Well, it tells us that T-Rex was not alone. While it was running around being an apex predator, you had smaller meat eaters like the Nanotyrannus running underneath it. Wow. Shout out to the NC Museum of Natural Sciences.
Look at that. Bust out the good china. We got a new dino we can look at home.
And I'm jealous of Lewis getting to cover the science story there. That's fascinating.
You want to switch spots, have him do the forecast?
Yeah, we could. It's good to change it up. No, they do such wonderful work over there at the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences. So much cool research right there in the building. And then they go out and, study dinosaurs.
Awesome.
And yeah, it's so cool. All right, this is cool too. Finally, some sunshine after, days and days of gray conditions. We saw gray skies starting on Monday, and now finally the sun is out. And it will warm us up nicely, but behind the system, we are definitely going to see some cooler air wrapping around. Our wind will start to come out of the northwest as we get through the afternoon. That'll keep us nice and cool. Looking beautiful in the gardens. Everything is green. The leaves are starting to change color a little bit. Some clouds there in Chapel Hill, but not completely cloudy. Just a few puffy clouds in Fayetteville and partly cloudy there in Apex. So no matter where we look, we're looking at some really nice conditions. Our cold front has slipped eastward around the low. The low rotates counterclockwise. That's going to be pushing some cool air in, and we're going to feel some chilly mornings. But we're not likely to see the cloud cover increasing any more than it is right now. At 1 o'clock, about 50% of the sky covered with clouds. By 5 o'clock, it's only about 15% of the sky, and we clear to almost zero cloud cover overnight tonight. That'll allow our temperatures to really drop pretty rapidly. So again, checking Futurecast, we're just going to see those clouds diminishing. We did have a nice soaking rain from Monday all the way through this morning. We saw around 2 inches of rain in Durham and Raleigh, about 1.25 inches in Clinton. Look at that, 2 3/4 in Fayetteville, 2.3. So there was some really good soaking rain that we saw across our area. Officially, so far for October, we've seen 2.08 inches at RDU. So that's about 1 inch behind what we would normally see. But Fayetteville is looking great, 2.7, and it's only a little over 1/4 of an inch behind what we would see for an average. Let's take a look at it a little bit differently. This is a look at the percent of normal rain for the last 30 days. So Southern Pines and Fayetteville has seen 100% plus of the normal rainfall for the last 30 days. Raleigh at 80%, but Lewisburg at about 65% of our normal rainfall. Still, that's not so bad. I love the reported photos that you all sent us. Danielle Shaw from Roanoke Rapids in her rain gauge, she had 3 inches. And then Brenda Moore at Carr Lake had about 2.5 inches. And so, yeah, it was a good rain. Now, the data that goes into the drought monitor cuts off on Tuesday. So we missed.
As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines we're following today. State Highway Patrol is looking for the driver of a flatbed truck that resulted in a line worker's death. This happened along Live Oak Church Road just before 5:30 yesterday evening. James Rudsky was working on power lines at the time when troopers say the truck driver hit a low-hanging line across the road. The truck went around a traffic control stop signal and got tangled in the line. Rudsky fell to the ground and died. Another line worker went to the hospital with minor injuries.
And officers are looking for the drivers who crashed into a utility pole in Durham. That crash knocked out power to hundreds of people. The WRAL Breaking News Tracker was there on North Roxborough Street near Monk Road during the aftermath, and police say the drivers abandoned the wrecked cars, and the vehicles appear to have been stolen.
A Wayne County school bus with 9 students on board this morning never made it to Rosewood Middle School. It crashed after 7 this morning at Massey Holt and Brogdon Roads when troopers say a livestock trailer detached from a truck. No one was injured. The students, we're told, were able to go to class today.
All right, so this next story gives you a good reason to take a familiar chore off your to-do list. Do not rake your leaves this fall.
All right, well, researchers at Virginia Tech say it is better for your lawn to mulch your leaves in place than it is to rake them to the curb. It's also better for the rest of the environment. Bagged leaves can take up valuable space in landfills that are already filling up fast. And you don't contribute to the air quality and noise pollution issues associated with those gas-powered leaf blowers.
I've been hearing a lot about this lately, but I'm going to tell you, it's going to be really hard not to do that. I like a clean yard.
Yeah, and if your neighbors appreciate all the leaves blowing onto their yard, if you don't rake them.
Well, a Dallas man transformed his front yard into a Halloween spectacle that's getting a lot of attention on social media. No surprises. Stephen Novak spent 6 months, yes, 6 months engineering robots for this zombie crash scene. The thing is, he doesn't even like Halloween.
It gives me an excuse to do a bunch of cool stuff outside because I'm an artist, so I can do weird stuff and it just blends in with Halloween.
There's nothing more dangerous than an engineer with free time. Novak's neighbors say they have already seen an increase in traffic as people scout out the yard, and they're preparing for a busier Halloween than usual. I will say that's a lot better than maybe a house that looks like it's on fire. I don't know, a little better.
Very creative mind there.